Okay. Well, hello. If anybody's out there, I've got a couple of minutes early start from 8 o'clock, but I did go. I, I did notify a few of you on a post that I would be going live, and it looks like we're live here. Okay. So, I'm try to pull something up here. So, hello, people. How are you? If you can hear me, welcome to the Experienced Nation, the INFJ Experience Live. I'm Tom Omega. How are you, people? It's good to see all of you. I'm just trying to get my own screen going here. Here we go. I'm going to get the live screen going. I know what happens though. The more I do these, the more I figure out how things work. A lot of times I think I don't have a chat.
What happens though? The more I do these,
Okay. All right. We're live though. We are live here. I heard a little bit of my own feedback. So yeah, a lot of times, sometimes I think I'm not really seeing what's going on here, but I actually am. So, well, so people, hello, welcome again. How are you, people? Yes, it is. I want to, whoever may be out there, I just want to wish everybody a happy New Year. And okay, stream started less than a minute ago. Yeah, I'd like to wish everybody a happy New Year, and hopefully everybody had a good Christmas and a good season as far as that goes. So, yes, I've just decided to. Actually, I was thinking about doing this live a couple of days ago, and yeah, work got a little busy. Had a little bit of car trouble there in the middle of the week. I lost my heat, had to bring my car to the shop, so I had a few things going on I had to address and all that, but I took care of some things, which was good. So, yeah, it says we have one watching. Hello. Hello there, one watching. How are you? It's good to see you out there. Hopefully, I'm thinking that maybe some people catch on, or that they'll see that I'm live and they'll join on in here. So, but yes, as far as the channel is going, things are going very well. Things are going actually quite excellent. We're over 600 subscribers now, 612 at this point here, as of the moment I started broadcasting. So yes. The channel's growing, so it's over 500. It seemed as though 500 to 600 went very quickly. Like, subscribers just happened in. So I keep thinking, well, what's catching on? Something's catching on here. I'm getting a lot more. I notice I get a lot more views, things like that. So people are becoming interested, and I got to tell you, people, a lot of it is your help, is because of your help, because of your input out there. And because you have built this audience to the level that it is, your subscribership has showed put us into a better algorithm, so that we can reach broader audiences and reach more people. They're taking us more seriously, basically, and obviously the more successful the channel gets. So I just want to thank you all for that. Okay, I have two of yous watching. Hello, welcome on in. Yeah, so that is the state of the union at this point. And again, it's always an ever growing community. It's always an ever growing amount. And I'm seeing a lot more new faces, a lot more new names come up as they leave messages, as they leave comments, and people are so very insightful in their comments. It's like they're giving me a whole other view of how to read our personality type, basically our mind. Now, they have different ways of forms of putting things, different vernaculars of putting things, just different ways of thinking about certain things that I never thought of. But it's all like very deep and very, very complex the way they leave their comments. So I mean, I got to tell you, like, a lot of times I'm very inspired by so many of you in so many ways. So that's one of the reasons. Not only that, people, honestly, I do enjoy I do enjoy just talking to you live as well. I think these live chats just they for some reason they really warm me up. They just do. I just know that you're out there. I know that you have an input, and that the channel's getting bigger. It's growing, and that yeah, it's like it's just a community that we have growing here. And what warms me a lot too is seeing some of the familiar posts and some of the names that I've seen right along. And yeah, you start to have a bit of a bondship because you remember them. You remember what they posted last time, and you kind of remember, and it's like so you have a little bit of a friendship in a sense. Even though we're not face to face, we're not like in the same room. We don't know each other. I mean, don't know your faces, but you just know you're out there and you're listening, so that warms my heart in so many ways. Well, in a little while here, I have a couple of monologues. I have a couple of things I wanted to touch upon, things I might wanted to have maybe made videos about, but I'm just going to talk a lot about them in a bit. Okay, I did leave a question on the post. If you ever haven't seen the community, as far as the posts, I leave posts, and you can always leave answers as much as you can. Some of you do, you answer me back, but you can leave your own posts as well with the community. I do encourage you to use that. It would actually open up communications if you're interested in that. But I did leave a question, a poll, a couple of days ago. Basically, what interested more people? I think I had 3 questions. But out of 10 responses was basically understanding the INFJ mind. I think I had humorous videos, and there was something else in there that I was just trying to get a pulse as far as like, what is it that we want to know? What is it we want to know about more than anything? And INFJs overwhelmingly just want to understand themselves. This is the burning desire, and I can fully agree with that. I mean, we do. We just want discussions where we just understand ourselves better, know how to relate with our own mind better. Yeah, and just know how to figure it out. As we know, it's most of our life, we haven't had that. And as younger versions of ourselves, yes, we've had a very, very turbulent life. And I think we've discussed that extensively here on our life early on. But yes, I'm going to start being more attentive to, yes, understanding the mind, understanding basically the psychology of our mind and things like that. But that does lead me into, oh, okay, 3 are watching now. Okay, that's something. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of something here. Hopefully, like I said, there'll be some more interest will start showing up. Now, people, if you're interested, I want to talk a little bit about a monologue. All right, I have a question. I have kind of just sometimes just a thought. A question can open up such a discussion, and you're invited to leave your comments and chime in on this, of course, at any moment you can. But now, how does an INFJ? How do you know when you're on the right path? In other words, when you're on the right path, you know, like you're making good decisions. You're living at a good time. A lot of times, like I said, we're confused a lot, where we have a lot of situations in our life where we are confused in things like that and sad. We go through our moments like we've discussed, but how do you know at what point? There's got to be some fundamental reasons. Now, I would say some of the reasons is that, just like I had said, your mind is less conflictive. Okay, now people, a lot of times, yeah, as you know, our minds are very conflicted through our life. And it feels like we're at a tug of war. And it feels like we're that center part of the rope that's getting all the tension, that little middle part. I mean, of course, there's always that 2 sides of the tug of war. They're trying to pull each other in the mud, you know, the old thing. But that rope, right in the middle of that rope, is getting all the tension. And it's being pulled in 2 different directions. Sometimes more than 2. Now, a lot of times I think when our stress level, when we don't feel like we're getting tugged anymore, the less we feel we're being pulled in every direction, and we don't have that tension, these are good indicators that we're on the right path. It's just in how your internal mind is going. I mean, how your mind is going, that the whole pulling, the tension of your mind. And that's a good indicator right there. You don't feel like you're that middle rope in a tug of war anymore. These are good indications. And of course, a lot of these trial and error moments through our life, and they take most of our life to figure this out. It takes a lot of maturity, takes a lot of our wisdom to reach and attain these kind of goals in our life. But a lot of it's just self-reflection, just restraint in some ways, and facing the problems within ourselves as they come up instead of running from them. Now, I've talked a lot about that. A lot of what our issues are is that, yes, I mean, we have nowhere to go, and sometimes we are very, very much in conflict in our own isolation, things like that, and we do go through bouts. But the more we face them, the properly we face them without reliving our resentments. If we're just stewing in our own juice and always reliving and always rehashing things and always just having things appear to us and we relive them, we respond to them, the memories that we have, even if they've happened a long time ago, if we're doing this over and over again, we're never going to get out of that cycle. It's until you finally get a hold of your mind, until you finally get a hold of your issues and see these things without reacting. Just watch them as if it's a movie screen. You have to train your mind to be where you're watching a bad movie, but that movie's up here on the screen, and you're out here, out not in that movie. You're sitting outside of the movie watching this, but you're not fearful. You're not reacting to it. You're not letting it eat at you. In other words, now a lot of these times this is going to lead you to being less stressful in your heart. You'll feel the tugging in your heart is going to be less of it. Okay. Now that's one good indication, is just knowing that the conflict in your mind and your heart is gone, or at least tamed down a bit. Maybe it's not completely gone. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's like you're always in turmoil, and number 1 or 2 is when, okay, a little bit, but it's not to where it's driving you crazy like we did. You know, maybe it's down to a 2 or a 3. Maybe it's at a 4. Maybe you're chipping away at it. You're bringing it down. See? So these are good indications of knowing that your mind is well. Now, another good indication that now people understand, this is my own observation. This is me talking. I know I say I use this as a whole scale, but this is mainly my own observation and my own experiences. But another good reason of telling that you're on the right path to salvation, to your mind being at peace, or whatever you might say, is also just mainly your desires, your pulls. You know, you're being pulled. A lot of times we desire something. We desire either a somebody, a something other than ourself. A lot of times it's that soulmate. A lot of times it's that connection. And a lot of times it's our isolation, that loneliness, that sadness we get from in our heart. And a lot of times just that deep feeling like we're prisoners in our own mind, that feeling as if we're that isolated and there's nothing there, and nobody can ever see this. And as much as you want somebody to see that world within your world, wanting to, that you'll never see that. Now, another good indication you're on the right path is that it doesn't matter anymore. You feel more complete. You're in your isolation in your mind and your soul, but you don't feel alone anymore. You're okay with it. You can stand it. In other words, and in some ways, it's not isolation to the point where you're alone, you're lonesome, you're sad because of it. Now it's your sanctuary. It's actually changed into something you desire. It's a something that changed. I was trying to think of the right word for it. It turned into something that, yes, you are more at comfort with, is your own soul, your own sanctuary of your own isolation. And it's something you actually at some point look forward to, not something you dread, not something you have to tap into because you have nowhere else to go, because you're drained by people and you have no choice but to retreat into your bunker, into your isolation, even though it's miserable there, but you have to because things are draining you. No longer does it become something that you don't want to do, a dread. it's welcomed. You welcome your own inside being that. It's like you've been filled in a way. Yes. These are indications that you're on the right path. When you feel these in you, when no longer the validation that you craved, that you were craving at times of your despair times, that now when they're gone, these are another good indications that you're on the right path. Okay? So these are two in the case. Now, another indication too is, like I said, I alluded to the soulmate. Now, a lot of times people, of course, human nature is what it is. Human beings, animals, we all have a drive. We all have an instinctive drive. All right, animals have to have this. With animals, it's not a love drive. It's more like a lust drive. It's more like a rut. Animals have a, let's say, it's an unquenchable drive to, let's say, repopulate. Okay? Basically, you know what I'm getting at. A lot of times with human beings, yes, a lot of what our drive is, it's almost that animalistic urge that we were put in. I mean, we are spiritual, but we also have an animal body. So we have animalistic drives, but we also have a mixture of spiritual drives. We're a hybrid. I told you, we're a hybrid between a divine and an animal. And yes, we have this animal body. Now, a lot of times when we are, let's say, on a path of just we know we're still in conflict, where we're still haven't figured ourselves out. A lot of times we're governed by our drives, by our lusts, by our temptations, by our indulgences that we wish, the seeking of the flesh, the seeking of like I said, stimulation. A lot of times, like from the senses, like living from the outside in. So many times in our life, I mean, that's the way society is geared a lot of ways. And sometimes a lot of times, this culture, the world culture, especially our culture in this country, the United States. Now, I can't say it's just the United States. It's a world culture where it's very decadent, where it's very just gratify the senses, gratify your lusts, gratify what drives you animalistically, gratify that animal within you. Now, it does reach a point in your life where as INFJs, as anybody, when this is just bothering you. Some of us are geared differently. These things don't bring us pleasure. They may temporarily, but they leave a gnawing question in the back of our mind, almost of regret, like, why did I do it? Why was I so weak to fall into this again? Knowing that it would just be worse for me. Knowing that the aftermath would just gnaw at me. And a lot of us are geared that way. And I think INFJs, we're geared like that. I mean, sometimes we go down these paths of temptation in our situations, in our lust, our sensual desires. And a lot of times we fall into these, but sometimes I think we regret it. But it's already too late. We did it. It's like, now you got to deal with doing that. And if you do it again, it's like you kick yourself over and over again. You reach a certain point where you say, I can't do it anymore. Now you have to start looking within yourself and restraining yourself from these things. Now, a lot of times, how do we know we're on the right path? People, it's when you recognize these things. For one thing, recognition, just understanding, knowing that you're just not blindly going down these paths. You're not just following the collective consciousness of the world that just is blindly being led into these pleasures, that just goes with it. Somehow we're just eventually restraining from these things. And we decide that we're going to look within ourselves. We're going to look to our own mind, our own comfort within our own soul, and not our beast mode. We're not in our bestiality, looking for pleasures, looking for just outer stimulation. Now, the more you find gratification out of your inside, the more you find that the understanding of your heart in your inside, these are another good indications that you're on the right path. When you're living from that source first, your spiritual side, and you are more, and you're kind of knowing that the animal side of us is no longer gratifying. These are indications that you're on the right path. So, tell us how you know that you're on the right path. Hi, Tom. Hi, Peace. How are you, Peace? How do I know that? Well, I'm basically saying how. I'm trying to say that. How would you know that you're on the right path? Well, like I said, a lot of it, a lot of it is just trial and error. I mean, a lot of it. It takes a lot. It takes our lifetime to kind of stumble a few times, and we're gonna finally question ourselves. But just know what I'm saying is, it's the condition of your of what's going on inside of you. Like I said, the first one was just knowing that your inner conflict. You don't feel like you're being tugged in many directions again anymore. You can be more at peace with yourself. Your isolation becomes more welcoming to you because now you know that it's more of a you don't feel isolated. You don't feel isolated and alone in that isolation. You feel more like at peace. It brings you peace. You feel filled in there now. These are good indications. And of course, I'm I'm speaking of your path, Tom. Oh, you're talking. Oh, personally, personally. For one thing, Peace. I'm still working on myself. Trust me. I still have flaws and I still have my little demons that I face. I'm not sitting here saying I've found anything. I think I'm working toward it. But trust me, I have demons. I'm still working through. But the reason I say this is because it's just something that these are realizations that you have through our life. I think a lot of times through trial and error, like I said, you kind of go down that temptation and it doesn't gratify you. You almost feel bad for going down that road. But I'm just recently, since I'd say in the last couple of years, I finally just had nowhere else to go, where I felt like there was no outlet. Sometimes you feel like you have nowhere to run to, and you have no choice but to face yourself. So you go into your dark night. You go through that vapid sea. I mean, basically, I've described that sometimes you feel like you're getting worse, like things you get more vapid, you get more empty. These are initiations that God puts us through. A lot of times, I mean, we're put through a lot of tests from God, and to see how much we can endure. So, the shadow self. Hey, Darius, how you doing? The shadow self. Yes, basically talking about shadow selves. Yeah, things like that. Now, these are some of the indications. I'm talking about how we're indicated, how things happen in our life, how we figure out we're on the right path in our life, basically. And these are some of them as well. But basically, how do I know it? Is because a lot of things I described is because that tension that I was talking about, that feeling like you're being tugged in many directions, to me, I don't have it as much anymore. I'm basing that on my own self. I mean, not to say I don't have it. That's why I said bring it down to a level of maybe 3 or 2. Not like it's completely gone. I'm saying once it was 10. And then it kind of brings itself down to like a 2 or 3, where it's still there a little bit, but you're working on it. You see? So that's what I mean. I think I felt like that, like as if it was. Hey, yeah, how you doing, Darius? So it's just you kind of know, like you can tell what you're going through. You can tell your level of contentment within your heart. You can tell your level of peace. I mean, if you're alone in your house sometime, let's say, are you longing for somebody? Are you like sad because you're alone? Or are you actually digging it, saying, hey, I don't know if I could live with anybody. I don't know if I could. Having somebody else around might just make me, it might just take my peace away. When you just can be in your home, I mean, night after night, week after week, and just be content there, cooking a dinner, maybe watching a YouTube, maybe doing a live broadcast, and just enjoying your life. And you don't have to have a lot of people around you. You don't crave that. These are indications that you're doing okay, but you're not bitter. You're not like bitter because you're hating people. You just feel contented, like God gave you a certain amount of grace within your heart. You just feel like that. These are indications that somehow you're on the right path, is what I'm saying. You see? Tom, have you ever had a divine INFJ experience? where you felt connected to another realm, like a walking dream? Whoa, that's deep. What a question. I love that question. Whoa. Who's that? Entropla Universe 352. Whoa, that's deep. I'm going to say that I had these, one time about a year ago, I think I was in my dark night of the soul. And I felt like there's been times where I feel like I've envisioned where I am now in my life, like right now. Sometimes, like, I drive a truck at night. I drive a fuel truck, and when I was a kid, I used to have these visions of me. I used to always wonder what I'd be doing when I was older. I always thought, what would I be doing in the year 2020? I thought, well, I'd be 55 years old, and knowing me, I'll be driving a truck. And I used to have these visions, like dreams, like you just said, where I thought, as a kid, I'd have these visions of what I'd be doing when I was older. And it was like 40 years early, like later in the future. Let's say I was maybe 15 years old, maybe 12 or 10. And I always saw myself driving a truck. But as I did, things were dark. Things were murky. Things were cloudy as I was driving that truck. So I kept thinking, well, it's just because it's an imagination. It's a projection of what you're thinking. One day it dawned on me. As I was in my dark night of the soul. I was actually driving my truck about a year ago. And I thought, oh my God, I'm in a truck. I'm driving at night because I have a night job. I worked at night. And I thought, wow, I envisioned this. I've seen this for the last 40 some odd years of my life as a kid. I've seen this. And then it almost like, I felt like I had a connection to myself thinking about it as a kid. Like I was looking back on my past at myself, seeing myself, like remembering the thought I had about wondering what I'd be doing like in my future. And I said, it wasn't an imagination. It was a dark night on a night job in my truck. So yeah, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, they're kind of eerie in a way. Yes. Good evening, everyone. El Vagabond, hello there. Hey, okay. All right, awesome. But if that's what you're talking about, but I had that whole story goes deeper than that. I felt like at one point I was kind of communicating with myself as a younger self, riding a freight train. I ran away from home riding a freight train, and I remember I was cold, tired, miserable, hungry, and I didn't know how long I was gonna live. I was like 15 years old, and it's almost like I had to tell myself within myself as a kid, Tom, go home and don't ever run away again. It's like I had to step in and just, and it's almost like I had that thought as a kid, like I was kind of interconnected in some time warp with myself. It gets deep. I can't prove this. We never can. But if that's what you're talking about, maybe that's what I had. So this is exactly what I mean. The time slipping into you knew you were going to be there, and you were also going to look back. So you know what I'm talking about. If you've had that experience, this is something maybe, I'm glad you confirmed this to me, because I always wondered if it was just me and my mind and my imagination, but it seemed to me as vivid as that, like I was looking back and forth like a slide ruler at myself from the past, and but in viewing myself. Yes, so you get that. So many other facets. Yes, but that was about a year ago, during my whole moments when I was really in a sad state that I had no choice but to go through. So, but I guess, well, I was trying to say, like, what are some of the reasons how we know we're on the right path? Now, whether or not we go through bouts like that, whether or not we start having a deeper level of consciousness. Now, these are unexplainable, they're unprovable, but they happen, and we know they're in our conscious. We know our memories are going through this, and we know somehow there's almost like we have a prophetic view of our own selves in some ways. And I was blown away with that, thinking I've envisioned myself into the future. And there's been a couple of moments where it's come true, and even as a kid. And so, yes, I think in some ways, I mean, we have ways of seeing into ourselves, but they're usually at times where we're in certain discoveries, when our consciousnesses are heightening, when we're going through these dark nights of the soul and things like that. I think you're right. You're onto something, though. Yes. Okay. So yes, and many other. Darius, I saved myself from a speeding ticket. I had a precognitive dream. I woke to that day. Dreamt I was on my way to work. Then, when on my way to work, the coup from my dream was in the exact spot of my dream. Yeah, it's almost like deja vu. You know, those little moments where you think you've been there, you've experienced something. They call that deja vu and things too. Yeah, but I know there's moments where I swear we kind of predict where we're gonna be, and at that moment, I try to say, how is this significant? What happened? Why am I supposed to know this at this moment? And is there a thought? Was there a realization? Was there some kind of epiphany that we're supposed to have? And but then the thing is, you never forget those. These moments you have, these memories, these bouts that we're talking about. For some reason, they stay with you because they're so they're unexplainable and they're uniquely personal. They're only you, only your mind. You're only what's going on to you. That's how unique they are. But we all have these. We all have these uniquely personal events in our life, it seems. And I'm glad you're pointing this out, people, because I think we do see this. And now, as INFJs, I can't speak for all other personality types, but the way our mind is, and the way our mind goes. I mean, we're so much in touch with our inner world, our inner consciousness, and somehow I think that we're a lot in touch with, like I said, we have God codes. We're in touch with those certain knowledges of who and what our origin was from. A lot of times, I think things are put together. I mean, they're all it's kind of a mystery in a way what exactly they are, but our memories and our consciousness are all testifying to something that we've all had similar experiences to, and so there's something there. There really is. So yes, they are like mental blueprints, unique to our experiences. Absolutely, you know exactly. They're just it is distinctly unique. In fact, bottom line is, people, as much as we have these connections and we think alike, we're of the like mind. We're INFJs. We have a similar way of visioning the world, but we are uniquely individual in our own minds, and we have our own unique experiences because, yeah, that's our lives. Our lives are a collection of what we are, the thoughts, our spirit, our whatever it is that we go through. But they're uniquely individual. So mine is individual, yours is individual, but at some point we're all kind of testifying that we've had these similar experiences of individual consciousnesses, whatever you want to call them. I'm glad you see. This is what I mean. I'm glad you told me that and said this is what it is. It's like I think I even put a short out. It was months ago. I think I described it as the interdimensional time warp mind. I didn't know what else to put it as. Like we're basically what we're talking about, having this way of kind of looking into your own, having prophetic visions of yourself in your own mind, in your own life, and seeing where you're going to be in as an older man or person, woman for that matter, whoever you are, and but also being able to look back at yourself. And sometimes it's almost like a wormhole opens up in your mind, and you're having to actually relay messages. I swear I gave myself a message. I mean, I was in tears one night. I was fueling trucks, and I had this vision that I saw myself sitting in a freight train. I had run away from home. I was in the Pacific Northwest United States, and I was actually heading home. I was going eastbound. I was leaving from about Spokane, Washington. I had gone through Idaho. I think I was in Montana on a freight train. It was in the early 1980s. I was about 16 years old, and I was cold. I was hungry. I was confused. I was a kid that had no direction. And I ran away, and I was on the road for months. I had a tough life. I think maybe I didn't tell you this story, but I did. I had a tough road where I was riding freight trains. I was hitchhiking, and if I was hungry, I'd go to McDonald's dumpsters, and I was, getting day-old hamburgers and French fries. When you're starving, those things taste pretty good, I tell you. And I was doing things like that, drinking out of puddles, just drinking, like trying to see if it was clear water, making sure there was nothing floating around in it, taking puddles, sips out of puddles of water, just for drinks. Well, during this time, I was actually riding a freight train, and I told you I was fueling trucks, and I swear I felt like I saw this, like I foresaw myself doing this at night, doing this job, and I saw myself in the past as that kid sitting in that freight train, kind of huddled up there, riding that train. And I gave myself a message. I said, Tommy, go home. Don't do this again. You got to get your life together. This road is going to kill you. You're going to die if you keep this lifestyle up. I told myself that. And I thought to myself, I'm sure this thought came to myself in that freight train. Like something took over. I was telling myself, I'll give myself a thought, like a direct, like a father would, or like a big brother would. But I was telling my younger self that. I know it seems like science fiction, like Twilight Zone stuff, but we have this capability. I'm convinced of it. And you're telling me that I'm seeing some of your responses here that tells me you had similar experiences. Yes. Okay, I'm going to read some of this. Okay, looks like, yes, Darius. Oh, Foxy, somebody said powerful words to me this week. Okay, it's good being, yep. Okay, we have 10 of us on there. Awesome, awesome. Hey, I'm glad we're building it up here again. All right, I think it's this deep conversation we're having here. But these are all indications that somehow we're on the right path. When our consciousness can enlighten, our consciousness somehow enlightens as well. That's another thing. A lot of times when you know you're on the right path, I've listed a few other indications as to why. Now, a lot of times too, when you're on the right path, yeah, you have a heightened level of consciousness. You seem to, you're seeing things differently. Your perspective of things are different. No longer do they just seem surface level. I mean, gosh, you start hearing birds in a different way. They start ringing a little different. You start seeing the wind and the way it howls through the leaves of trees in a different way. And it's somehow there's a connection. And not only that, your thoughts, your good thoughts, your guiding thoughts become more vivid, while your toxic thoughts become almost obvious. You see them over here. You see them trying to pull you in. You see them trying to confuse you, trying to lure you, trying to infiltrate you, but you're aware of them. You see them and you're like, you see these toxic thoughts for what they are. And you kind of reject them. You know that these are things that normally you would have been pulled into. You would have kind of drifted into to start getting into your, like consuming you like a tapeworm in a way. But as your consciousness starts to enlighten, as it gets deeper and it develops, you start seeing these things for what they are. You train your mind, you train yourself not to be pulled into these dark shadows, these dark moments in yourself. These are good indications. When you start recognizing these things for what they are, and you start gravitating more toward your light, your good side, your good conscious thoughts, your thoughts that are coming from a good origin, your spirit, your creator's actual origin. Now, these are good indications when you start listening to these and your allegiance starts being more in contact with this, okay? So these are all good indications that you're on the right path, all right? So let's see. Well, look, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot It looks like there's, okay, a lot of people, you're not talking to each other. That's nice. Majored in psychology, had a blend of what, okay. And my major is in psychology. Hey, Andropala Universe, you're majored in psychology. Really? Awesome. Only can be described as a combination of divine, prophetic, and purposeful. Mystical, mathematical is like always observing the observed and beyond. Man, you're deep. Whatever you just said, the way you're throwing words together, that's very deep stuff right there. Now, that's almost like, did you study a lot of Carl Jung? That sounds like Carl Jung type psychology right there. He he got a lot into the subconscious of the intuitive. He was deeply into that intuitive consciousness, and that's what you sounds like you're coming from right there with that kind of thing, because he used to talk about things like that. He used to talk about the mind being that way, especially when the introverted intuitive had an awakening. Their mind changed. Yeah, they had gotten deeper. They were able to see more of the realms of their intuition. Their inner world became more enriched, and it didn't become as chaotic. It didn't become as like abstract. It still was abstract, but it becomes a lot more fine-tuned, in other words. Like you're able to decipher things much more clearer. He talked about that. So if that's what you're talking about, Tom, can you get caught up on the comments? People are trying to communicate. Okay, you know what? Peace, thank you. Thank you. Yes, of course I will. I apologize for people for doing that. So you're trying to ask questions. I do apologize, okay? I should get caught up. Thank you for setting me straight, Peace. I got to have somebody telling me what's. Let me see. I'm trying to get caught up here. All right. Now, okay. Okay. Yes, I don't worry. I've been found. Let's see. I'm going to go backwards a little bit. Now, let's see. It's a typo. It's okay. I am. Okay. Darius, I'm going to need to get some reading glasses out for Tom. Oh, yeah. Hey, I got my reading glasses. I got them. I got them. I got them right here. I just, yeah, I like to, okay. All right, okay. So people are trying to communicate. I know, this guy's just doing too much talking. He's not communicating. I get that. So, all right. So, but anyway, so, I'm trying to, yeah, okay. I'm sure. Okay. I used to be content being alone after I broke up with my ex-partner. Oh, Vamp Fox 88. Hello, Vamp Fox. I've seen your name before. I used to be content being alone after I broke up with an ex-partner of 8 years. I was told I was crazy by him, but then I needed him to back. But then I need him back, and I said, well, if you message, you can wait, but I won't. Okay. Yeah, you know, sometimes relationships, yeah, a lot of times, I tell you, to an INFJs, I think I've told you the story. Relationships, I never really, as much as I wanted to find somebody to have relationships with, they never really work out very well with me. That's all. So, visions are messages from the unconsciousness. Okay, hello there, Muthaman Makali. I'm trying to read. That's a new name. I don't believe I've ever seen you before. Hello there, Muth. Can I call you Muth? Muth. Yes, visions are like, okay, yes, absolutely. I disagree with some of the gifts as matter of experience and personal analysis. Okay, yep, I see that. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to see some. There's so many came in. I mean, you know what? I must have really got off the key because there's so many. I'm like, they must have backlogged quite a bit of them. So, all right. But I guess part of it is I guess I go on a monologue a lot of times, and a lot of times I think I'm on a tirade, and I do start talking about things, and then I get a little bit sidetracked, and I try to address the camera here. So I guess part of it is you know, but that's all typo. Okay. All right. But anyway, so these are, like I said, my whole point is that, all right, I looked at some of them. There's a lot of them. Okay, I tell you what, I'll keep an eye on I'll keep a better eye on I will make sure I look better next time at what's being said, all right? Okay, I'll keep a better eye on the whole thing. I got that a little bit pulled in here a little bit, okay? But to get back to my original point, though, Okay. I think a lot of us, it seems as though we've all had similar experiences. Like we actually feel as though we're almost in the time realms in a way. And we see like different patterns and things. Now, being introverted intuitives, especially, is when we see these kind of things in ourselves mostly. I mean, that's basically what we're all about, is that having these kind of things, and it's almost exclusive. I mean, a lot of times is sensing types. They live completely different. I don't even think they're. If you told a sensing type anything that we're talking about, and they think we were crazy, they think we're all on drugs or something like that. They think, oh man, these people are tripping out here. I mean, I'm totally sober. I don't do that stuff, but I just know that sometimes my mind sees these things. Yeah, you see. So, as an IFJ, they say what like okay. I live a spiritual experience along with a physical. 90% of everything is supposedly empty. There's a lot of room for mystery. Yes, I disagree. With some of our gifted. Visions are messages from the unconscious. Okay, saw that. Yep. All right. Do you think we're crazy? They do think we're crazy. Yes. Well, I'm just using that as an example. Through our lives, I'm sure, at various times through our life, yeah, we've tried to talk to just our friends, bring up things that were on our minds, and we'd get these looks like, you get crazy looks, and then they do this, and just like you're out there, it's. And then then they make you question yourself, like, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Then you start questioning, like, yeah, maybe I think wrong. And then because the good majority of people don't see what you see, and you're in the minority, you're very rare, and occasionally you might even just start to believe the what they're saying. But it comes to a point in our life where we have to have faith in ourselves and know that we see a world far different than they are. No, that's all. But these are some of the indications, like I said, that you're on the right path. I mean, your consciousness and things I had listed before. Okay. Now, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. Okay. What other gifts do people experience as INFJs? Okay, other than what we're talking about. Okay, but I mean, we have a lot of gifts, but we also have a lot of drawbacks. We're not going to get too much in the drawbacks right now. We're going to talk about our gifts. I mean, naturally, of course, we're introverted, intuitive, we're empathic. I mean, these are some of our superpowers that we have. And we have the ability to basically read people. We can read deep into people's souls in a lot of ways without even trying. It's just something instinctive. And when you finally figure out your type, you start becoming more aware of your ability to read deeper into people's expressions, into people's body language, and into their speech. And pretty soon you can actually get a whole blueprint out of somebody in so many ways, just understanding how they talk, just understanding what they're talking about. Not a lot of, we take this for granted. Maybe you grew up with this, with this ability, but so many people don't have this. They don't think like that. We keep it quiet. We just observe, and maybe in the back of our head, we process this, and this is how I do it. I don't say anything. I don't say, oh, I think you're this, and that. We just kind of file it. We just kind of know we kind of keep a kind of a file on what we're experiencing. So, yeah, I kind of tripped a thing, brother. I'm shaking after speaking. Yep. Yeah, these are some of the other gifts we have. Okay, and a lot of it too is, like I said, we have obviously empathy. We somehow our emotions. We have a certain emotional level, whether we're built with that or not. But our outer feeling is, we just have a heightened awareness, and we feel things differently. A lot of times is we might hear a song. And say it's a song that you particularly like. A lot of times we get very emotional on things in a sensing way. It's like our FE can take over. I can listen to a certain album, like let's say a Beatles album or a Pink Floyd album. I'm going to use Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd used to do this for me, where I'd listen to like Wish You Were Here, the album. And that album is it's spacey, it's Pink Floydy, it's emotional, but it puts you into kind of a trance. It puts you into it's like the first part of it. but you can actually, you're kind of almost feeling it. You'll hear the music, but you kind of like almost get a deeper way. These are some of the gifts you have. The way we sense, the way we have a deeper sense of things. We don't just see things, hear things. We actually are that emotion acts as a kind of it enhances some things. Sometimes things pleasurably, and other times it can be more horrific. It can be more traumatizing to us. These are some of the drawbacks, depending on what it is. Because we're so sensitive, if things traumatic happen, especially as children, we feel them much more. We feel them like they shake us to our core more than a lot of other types. These are some of the drawbacks to the sensitivity that we have, is that they affect us deeper. I mean, yes, they give us more pleasure and more understanding, but it's that other side that affects us too. I'm just going to breathe it out for a minute and not think further on that subject. Darius, okay. Gifted and talented, educated, former, yep. What is the GATE program? I'm old school still. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, it's kind of a tripping thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a kind of a tripping thing. Breathe it out. Okay, you're talking about when I was talking about like some of the music I get into, yeah, yeah. But that's a lot of what it is. These are some of our strengths. And of course, Tom, we missed your convo. Oh, okay. You missed some convo. Oh, I did. I'm trying to catch up on things. Okay. All right. What other gifts do we experience? I think I've covered up some of them. Maybe can some of you fill me in on that? What are the gifts that we have? I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the things that we have that are unique to our personality type here. But sometimes I know we have different visions or messages from unconscious inflations of things we're special in. Okay. Whatever that is. Okay. Again, some deep stuff being said. Some of your comments are very deep as well. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think a lot of our some of our gifts that we have is just our communication style. Now, I put a video out, it was a funny video just this week about how we're gifted with language, things like that. I think we like to communicate because this is our way of being in connection, our way of connecting with others. Is just, and we have to be very precise. We like to be right connected. So it's important to us to connect with good vocabulary, with good language, things like that. So we're very much in connection. And as we're trying to like consult with people, we want to be spot on about what we're talking about. We want our messages conveyed just right. So if that means anything, yeah, these are some of the good things that we have, our attributes to who we are. Yes, definitely. So, but yes. Okay. And now I wanted to also touch upon something too. Okay. I'm trying to read some of the comments. I'm just definitely trying to stay into the loop here. All right. Okay. We are creative, observant. Okay. Peace has one comment here. We are creative, observational, and good at reading patterns and people. Absolutely, yes. Tom, you missed some convo. Okay, all right, I did. I'm trying to catch up on it. I'm trying to keep more in contact. I think you're trying to hint, and I got to read more about this, okay? And I've been doing that. Just set me straight here. We got to all be in contact here, all right? So, but bottom line is too, yeah, okay, wow, Vagabond. The tube cut my replies. Oh, Darius, you. Oh, what happened? Did you have? You mean on this chat? Did you get cut, Darius, from your? Did YouTube cut some of your replies in here? Literally cannot type the words. Oh, okay, sir. Seriously. I heard sometimes it depends on. Yeah, they can do things like that. I've heard stories like that they have ways of editing things out. I know who's TikTok's like that. Facebook is like that. I've noticed. Yeah. Gate is a thing. Okay. Yeah. But there's another topic I wanted to get into. All right. I think we covered a lot of that, some of our qualities and some things. Now, I want to ask you a question. All right. There's, as we know, there are the lone wolves, and I think we have the lone wolf syndrome. INFJs are lone wolves. All right. And that's just what we are. Now, there is a difference between the Sigma and the lone wolf. Now, does anybody know the differences? Because lone wolves, and you could say they're both lone wolves. I mean, Sigmas are lone wolves, but why are they different than a lone wolf, a typical lone wolf? Does anybody have any input on that? I'm going to come up with some ideas of my own, but just something to talk about. Because I think in a lot of ways, lone wolves are being forged into the Sigma, but there are some things that separate them, that divide them, where they're not quite the Sigma yet. And what is that stage that you enter into as the Sigma INFJ versus the lone wolf? Okay? Yeah. So it triggered a sensor. Okay. So it sounds like you got censored, Darius, huh? Hopefully, I can only imagine. I hope it wasn't any. I don't think it was profanity. You don't sound like you've never been profane. Sometimes I see people put the F-bomb out there and they swear and they go out sometimes. I try to keep this clean myself. I never use profanity, if you've noticed. The gift and talented educated gate. Okay. I had some memory flashes about it today. Okay. It triggered a sensor. Okay, so something happened. Yeah, okay. The gifted and talented educated gate. Now, what is that? The gate program. Oh, does that stand for something? GATE. Gifted, something, talented, educated. Does that an acronym? Could you put that up there? I'm not sure what the GATE program is. Maybe you could tell me what that is, if you'd like. But the gifted and talented educating. Oh, I think it's right there. Oh, no, you've already got it. Gifted and talented educated. Okay, got it. All right. Okay, can't tell. YouTube censors. Oh, really? Oh, that's what it was? You were trying to talk about that, huh? Okay. So it's just right away. You're trying to type it in and it won't let you type it. It won't let us see it, huh? Okay. I think I used to hear, like, is it similar to there used to be some of these, like back in the 70s and 60s, like very highly educated people that were gifted, and they would give them grants and scholarship to like special colleges, special like universities, special schools where they had a very abnormally large high IQ, let's just say, and they were very talented that way, and a lot of times they gave them grants to these higher educations based on their high IQ. I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. Yeah. Connected to the project Stargate. Oh, okay. Stargate. That sounds, okay, I'm not sure what exactly that is, but I can only imagine it's something to do with, something like some kind of space thing where people are going to eventually leave the planet and go populate another planet or something. Like go something like that. Like it's a top secret thing where they're trying to reach out and find these other. I mean, if that's what you're talking about, yeah. Sometimes it's all science fiction stuff, but look into Tom. Okay, look into it. I guess I'll have to. I will. I'm gonna have to look more into it. I don't know a lot about that. Psychic soldiers. Oh, okay. Psychic soldiers, huh? Oh, man. Look into it. I will. Yeah, I'm going to look into it. Maybe not right this second. I'm kind of holding this. I am holding this live broadcast. I will afterward. I'll look into that and find out what the Stargate project is. I know I've heard that term before. I know what I've heard of it, but don't quite know. I'll look into it. I will. Okay. But it's deep stuff either way. I mean, this is the stuff that's, okay, sorry, didn't mean to derail everything. No, you didn't derail everything. Listen, I have to be a little more involved. Sometimes I get on my monologues. I'd like to get on a little bit of a monologue sometime, but I get caught up on some people are asking questions and they get sidetracked. Okay, but originally I tried to say before I was just going to try to come up with some differences between, like, let's say, lone wolves and sigmas, and how there's different levels into when you enter into the sigma phase versus the lone wolf. Okay, and I was hoping I could get a little input into that. That's okay, but I'm going to look into the other thing. But if you're okay with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Lone wolves. I think a lot of us, I think we're all lone wolves. As INFJs, we're lone wolves. And I think a lot of it has to do with just, it starts with our mind. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're so isolated in our mind. We're very much alone. We're introverted. Introverted people are alone in their mind a lot. And they usually just think within their mind. They could be in a conversation with people, but our mind always drifts. Our mind might hear what the conversation is, and sometimes, in a sense, we look through people. We look beyond them. We look through them as they're talking, and we think about other things as we're in those conversations. Right away, that's part of what the lone wolf is. It starts in that mind. It starts in that whole introverted intuition right away, is because we're always so isolated. And a lot of times it just starts with us drifting off. We drift and we tend to become loners. We tend to like to do things in a lone way in so many ways as well. And so, but the thing is, we still have our demons. A lot of times we still have our cravings. As lone wolves, as we grow as lone wolves, maybe we're young, we know we're different. We know we tend to drift off. We tend to do things ourselves. Maybe we go to the library and we just read books for ourselves. Maybe we take trips and walk in nature. Take hikes by ourselves. Maybe take bike rides, things like that. But we're drawn that way. Maybe we tried to start hanging out with people or start trying to be around people, but we're just drawn. But somehow we're still fighting it. As lone wolves, okay? Sometimes we still fight it. We still resist it. We want to have connection. We want to change it. Sometimes we do. Some have accepted it. Some will not try to accept it. But my point is that through their life, they're going to forge this way. They still have drawings. They still want to be accepted. They still might try to find connections, only to find out that they're just fighting against the way they were built. They're fighting the way their code has been set up in themselves, and so they're just usually always in conflict with themselves, trying to find themselves, but also trying to just reconnect in some ways in that way. But a lot of times, sometimes it takes a lifetime. It takes many, many years for them to finally just accept who they are and then start looking to correct that, having less conflict within themselves. And so then they start gearing toward something deeper themselves, whether or not they know it or not. The lone wolf, as we know, lone wolves go through this in their life, constantly looking, maybe having conflicts, having sadnesses, having depression because they're trying to change but they can't. But eventually it reaches a point where they know nothing they do is going to work. Then it comes to acceptance. A lot of times you have to acceptance. This is the first level of your Sigma self, is when you finally accept, okay, this is it. This is my life. I've tried everything I am. Okay, this is my life. I'm a lone wolf. And now you start gearing to that. Now you have no choice but to seek that peace and comfort within your heart, that seek the peace. Sometimes we crave connections with others, even if for just a little socialization, like at a grocery store. That's enough for me. Oh, just a little chit chat in a grocery store. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll go to a bar and sit at a bar and just have a drink myself and things like that. But bottom line is, we have to have a certain acceptance. Once the acceptance, this is the turning point in the road to the Sigma. INFJ, is that right away the lone wolf can't find connection, realizes that it's almost like that lone wolf in the wild. Sometimes it tries to go into other tribes, it tries to go to other packs, only to find out that it's foreign to them, that it's not from that tribe. And sometimes they're just not accepted because they're lone wolves. So they drift off and they can't find that pack. Just like similar to us, similar to our lone wolves. Until finally it's just, okay, this is it. You have to fine tune yourself. You have to adapt. You have to survive on your own. Your mind has to become your own greatest asset that you have. Your own self, your own assurances, your own self. Your own self. What do you call it? Independence. Your own self-independence has to be sharpened. You realize this is what you are, who you are. And you realize you're being guided by something. Once this happens, this is when your allegiance into the Sigma takes over, is right away when you start realizing that this is your life. It has to be that acceptance. It has to be that shift. Once that dynamics takes over and you've abandoned looking for connection, knowing that it's just not you, you're not built that way. And then you have no choice but to forge forward. And then all of a sudden it becomes spiritual. It becomes it becomes spiritual, psychological, mental. It becomes you forging, looking deeper into your own thoughts, getting control of your own thoughts, understanding your mind deeper and better, cleansing your mind. And that it might take a while, but also at this point too, you're able to transfer your sufferings. Your sufferings don't no longer hurt you. They are your basically your tempering. I mean, gosh, when you temper a piece of steel, you temper a sword, and you got to make that thing, you shape it into the shape that you got it. You got to heat that thing up into a steel like a red hot poker, let's say, and then you got to put it in that cold water, and the steam comes out, and you sharpen and you temper that steel. This is what's going on in the Sigma mind at this point. And this is the transformation from the lone wolf into the Sigma at this point there. All right. So I've always accepted that little social interaction connections, even at school, I had. One close friend, even when she left because she got bullied, I was alone and I had to find another person in alone. Yeah, that's Vamp Fox. Oh yeah. Someone would look at me, say, "Come on and sit with me," and I'd ask why. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was just their ways of always looking for connection. Obviously, yes, of course, but these are the main differences between the lone wolf and the Sigma. Now, like I said before, all Sigmas are lone wolves, yes, but they had to evolve. They had to come out of something. But they came from the lone wolf, and they came from that lone wolf trying to struggle basically in their life early on, only to find that they were built different until it came to an acceptance, and that acceptance turned into basically a better strength, an understanding of wisdom. But that allegiance had to take over. That acceptance had to happen in order for the allegiance of the Sigma to start to emerge into the completed Sigma self in that way. So I don't know. I thought about that. I thought I could have made a video based on that, and I was thinking maybe I still will. These are some of the things that I'd like to do eventually in videos, but I'm just trying to. I'm going to talk to you about them now as I'm on live. And I mean, of course, I'm never scripted. I'm never rehearsed. A lot of times I just speak off the cuff. So that's all. All right. Someone would ask me to look and say why, but that's some of the. But if you have any kind of comments about things like that, yeah. But okay, yeah. Darius, are you still out there by any chance? I do apologize. You're getting censored like that. That was definitely nothing I would advocate for. I mean, we like to think we're completely free speech here, but. I mean, I did hear that occasionally that will happen. So, Oh, yeah, okay, cool. That's good. You're still out there. All right. Yeah, I do apologize that happened. You got censored like that, you know? So, but you always get good input. You always get good things to say. So that's all. I was hoping you were still there. Yes. But, yeah, but anyway, I'm hoping everybody had a great New Year's. I mean, I'm sure people were responsible. Now, that's another thing is too. I mean, gosh, this is our New Year's. This is our New Year's Day, and I just want to thank everybody too. I mean, gosh, we went through a whole almost 6, 7 months. I started this channel, I think, back in June, May or June, late June or May. I mean, when I first made my first video, and it's been over 6 months. And yes, it's built to what it is in 6 short months. So I've been learned so much about YouTube. I really have, and I still have a lot more to learn as far as that goes. I mean, there's lots of other things I'd like to. Okay, learn. I I brought a tape convert to upload it. Oh, okay. Yep. Yep. This literally found it 2 weeks ago. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm just reading some of those. But yeah, but as far as YouTube's go, I got to tell you, people, it's really changed my life in so many ways, and a lot of it's because you're out there and you're making this channel what it is. I got to tell you, is the fact that it's changed in so many ways, and it's gotten better, and it's very much improved in so many ways. And yes, so I just want to let you know I'm happy to see that you're out there. All right. So I had another topic, another thing I wanted to float past you. So sometimes I just think of these things, and a lot of times is when I think it. I tell you, I think when I'm driving my truck at night, I get these ideas when I'm driving around at night. I think, hey, that could be a good video. I think I could talk about, like, I just pick a certain topic, like. And another one is, I'm going to float this past you, people, and see if you like this. Maybe you can give me some input on this one. I want to talk about the mechanics of meditation. Okay, basically the ins and outs as to how meditation works. All right. Now our mind. Now this is all coincides with understanding the mind of the INFJ. I think we want a deeper understanding of our mind and how we work and how we function at its the way it should. Now, a lot of times I think as INFJs, I think our mind, yes, we just want to know that we're sound. We're not confused. We're not being tugged. We're not depressed. And a lot of times, like I said, coming out of that, finding some kind of control into this and being more at peace in our mind is our lifetime struggle. And we want to find that more than anything. People with me, I never realized what it was until I found some level of peace. That this is what we've been looking for our whole life, is just to have our mind not so conflicted anymore. And it is possible, people. It is possible. As INFJs, we seek that peace and contentment our whole life. We really do. And that's something that we're always looking for. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with our state of mind. And a lot of it's found through our meditation. Okay? A lot of times we find this because we want to, it's in our prayer, it's in our meditation, it's in our stillness, okay? But I want to talk to you basically about some of the mechanics of how meditation works, okay? Now, hear me out, people. Now, first of all, I want to talk about how a regular computer, let's say artificial intelligence, I mean, obviously computers are now, almost everywhere. I mean, computers are running and basically computing things. I mean, there's worldwide webs. They're running businesses, and they're high tech. They're actually flying aircraft. They're doing pretty much everything, and it's just the way that they're being put together. Basically, intelligence has found ways of actually recreating a brain, recreating the human brain in such a ways where it could think, and it could be it could be deep, and they have certain functions that they have expertise in. Now, let's just take a basic computer, the way it functions. It's emulating a human brain as much as possible. Now, what is a human brain other than a lot of cells, a lot of brain cells, and they have neurons, and they transmit thoughts, memories, patterns. They compute logic. They compute reason in between just electrical charges that move in between brain cells. And of course, there's patterns in there that just memories and patterns are just sequences, are basically repeated sequences in order to create memories, to create thoughts, to create rational reasons. So by creating a neuron computer, I mean, basically it's all these electrodes just having sequences with electricity, literally with electricity, as our brain is. But their connection and their neurons are in the memories and their RAMs. And so there's always aspects of different parts of a computer. But what happens to a computer? How does a computer fail? It gets viruses. Viruses are out there. Sometimes you get hackers and they hack into a computer and they throw a virus in there. What does a virus do to a computer? It's very similar to what it does to a mind. Is that a lot of times it's similar to like trauma. But firstly, understand what happens in a computer. Those computers get these viruses. They get something put in there. Maybe they're hacked. And something infiltrates it, and something just starts, intertwining its thought in there, and it starts bogging down the computer, making it run slower, making it just a basic freeze. It just destroys the computer in a way, the whole neurons, depending on how bad the virus is. Now, our mind is kind of similar to that. A lot of times, through our traumatic events in our life, maybe trauma, things, of course, when we're very vulnerable as kids, yeah, we have traumatic experiences. And of course, INFJs, this is one of the telltale things of what happened to INFJs is that we've had trauma. We've had certain things. We've been neglected. We've been kind of pushed aside, cast aside, whatever it is, things that happen. Now, a lot of times, it's almost like interfering with that virus in a computer. Our mind had these things happen. Traumas happened to them. Now, the thing is that through our life, a lot of times we keep repeating these traumas over and over again through our life. Now, the mechanics of what meditation is and the mechanics of what prayer is the fact that it's a way of kind of separating your mind in a way. It's getting more control over your mind. It's getting a control over the workings of your mind in so many ways, okay? All right? So strange. I've been on my mind recently, too. I think a lot of connecting are going to be made soon. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. But I guess my point is that what meditation does, in a sense, is it's finding a certain stillness. Now, you got to almost think of your mind as like in several different categories. Of course, I've talked about the neurons. We have those thoughts going. We have patterns. We have memories that go on. And a lot of times that's the physical part of our brain, okay? Like I said, I had a video about the trinity of consciousness, and I think a lot of times it's a matter of understanding our minds as a separate and like almost like a trinity. Now, of course, we have those thoughts, and so many times in our life, though, if we're not aware of this, these viruses that we pick up, these mind viruses that we pick up as children or as traumatic events, they continue to keep bogging us down, kind of like that computer in a way, you know what I mean? They keep getting in there, they cloud our thoughts, they cloud our judgment, they get us reacting in such a way where we start judging the events in our life. Like if something happened to you, whatever it might have been, when you relive it, when you resent it, and that's what resentment means, when you keep having it come back to you, you bubble up over and over again, and you start thinking about that. So many times your mind just, if you're focusing on that, it keeps you down. It keeps you almost in a cloud away from what you really, from what your mind is capable of. It's keeping you down because it's keeping you reliving it. A lot of times, I mean, now what meditation does, a lot of times is it's able to take these thoughts and it's able to take these destructive, toxic, trauma thoughts in our mind, and as we see them, when we're reliving them, we train our mind to observe them. Like I said, like watching a television outside, or maybe watching a movie screen outside ourselves, and just observing it in such a way where we're not reacting to it. We're not resenting it. We're just observing these thoughts. And a lot of times this is what we need to do, is train our mind. And so a lot of times we have to find that inner stillness. Now, I think a lot of times is too, there's a certain level of our mind, we have these thoughts, we have that jumble and that swirl of our thoughts, but also we have a stillness. There, if you close your eyes and settle things down, there's a timeless, there's a stillness, and there's a part of your mind that is basically the essence of your creator. It's the spirit in which God breathed into you. It's basically it's your spirit. It's your total consciousness that has no beginning. It has no end, and it's just something that is divine within us. Our meditation is meant to find this stillness in ourselves, like the eye of a storm, like the hub of a wheel, that very center of where our consciousness is, and not to be caught up in our thoughts. Now, when you get in touch with that, when you start meditating, when you meditate, you want to find that stillness. You want to become very aware of yourself, aware of your like physicality. I mean, you got to separate yourself from what is physical, what you're in, what your mind is doing, and almost find that intangible. Now, as INFJs, we understand this. You know, a lot of times our introverted intuition, and a lot of times, I mean, yes, we have an abstract way of computing and putting data together and actually putting together our thoughts, let's just say. In an abstract way, like with intuition, we kind of piece things together, patterns together. But deep down, we have to be aware of that timeless center that does not spin. I mean, kind of like that eye of the storm. I mean, you can compare it to a hurricane. A hurricane has a circular motion, and it's a whirling, swirling tangle of a storm. But that very center, that eye, there is an eye of the storm. Okay? Yeah, see the eye right there? See? Through all that swirling is an eye. And if it passes over your city, your town, or whatever, it becomes calm and still. In fact, it clears up. I mean, you might see it clears up. In fact, you see the sun poking through. But all around you're in a raging storm. Now, I've never been through a literal eye of the storm. I've heard about this, and I heard this is how it happens. I mean, it's probably like going through an eclipse in a way. It's very rare that you actually, wherever you are, you pass through the eye of a storm. But it's calm, and it's serene, and it's still. But literally, a swirling rage is going around you. It's just raging. It's swirling. But after a few minutes, it passes, and all of a sudden you get back into the swirl again. You get back into the ferocity of that storm again. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're right into it again. You had a few minutes of serene peace. This is your mind. You have to somehow understand that there is a center point. There is that center point. Now, the mechanics of your meditation is finding that. And a lot of times it's found. A lot of times it's a way of focusing. It's a way of just projecting out, finding that eye of the storm, and all of a sudden your thoughts, those traumas, those things that are bubbling up in you, you're not caught up in them anymore. In other words, you want to take yourself out of that storm. You want to find that still eye of the storm, and you want to that's where your meditation is. That's basically what it is. And as you get into your meditation, as you find these mechanics, as you fine tune this. Now, a lot of times as you're in the middle of it, you'll be thinking, you might be aware where you're still, where you're watching your thoughts, but you're going to get pulled back in. You're going to get pulled in, and all of a sudden you're going to be here, and then you're going to be thinking your thoughts, and then you got to recenter, pull yourself back. And then you might have a second or two, three, four, and then you get pulled back. But it's a practice. It's not a perfection thing, but what's going to happen is eventually, as you practice this, you're gonna be able to observe your thoughts better. You won't be caught up in the swirl of your thoughts anymore. It's like you're getting out of that mind virus of your mind. Okay, you're able to separate it much better. Okay, and so that's mainly what happens is when we're finding our stillness. A lot of the times you could say it's prayer. You could say it's just observing. I mean, but a lot of times, I mean, this is what meditation is, and this is how it's achieved. A lot of times, it's finding that center. I mean, I know there's different. I apologize, Tom. I have been listening while working. Very important. No, that's okay. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying not to miss a. I'm not trying to miss another text. I'm trying to read them. I mean, I'm kind of glancing. I notice. I noticed that. I noticed that you're out there listening. That's okay. A lot of it is I'm just trying to make sure I have a monologue that I talk about here. All right. Now, no, but basically these are some of the mechanics of our mind. Now, people, if you're new to this, and I know that INFJs tend to want to have, we have a mind. Now, this is highly important for introverted intuitives, INFJs. This kind of thing's important to know that there is a way of calming our mind, of finding peace, because our mind is a difficult one. And an INFJ especially is geared toward wanting to find the mechanics of their mind, their meditation, for this very reason. But I tell you, people, over the course of practicing this, it helps you to recenter. And if you can start observing some of the things that have upset you, instead of reacting to them, instead of reliving them over and over again, these traumas, these things that happen, instead of like hating it all over again. A lot of times this is what happened. We get a thought in our mind, something that violated us, something that happened to us. We relive it. We hate it. We hate who did it to us. We judge. We say, I hope so and so is burning somewhere right now. I hope that that we tend to put things. I mean, that's one thing I tried not ever to do. I didn't ever want to wish anything bad, no matter how horrible it was. But a lot of times, this is what happens to us. Now, when you start observing and you start, finding that stillness, finding that eye of the storm and separating your thoughts, you need to observe these things from afar without reacting, without resenting them, without hating them, without resenting them over and over again. And a lot of times, these things, you don't get pulled in. It takes a little bit of practice, but the practice is, again, getting into that stillness, living in that still quietness, and having your thoughts outside of you by observing them outside. This is your practice to seeing them for what they are. Now, what's going to happen is eventually these things will go away. These things that bothered you, these things that bubbled up and keep rehashing in your life, throughout your life, holding you back, blocking you, putting up roadblocks in your psyche, in a sense, they will start to go away. You'll start to see them. Okay, kind of like I said, kind of watching that projector screen, watching that bad movie, but not being part of the movie. That's all. Definitely recentering does help. Absolutely, Vamp Foxy 88. Okay, I will post the tape I found so people can know it. Eventually, like I said, I have a lot of plans for this channel. It's funny you say that. There's so many things I'd like to do eventually. I mean, I'd like to think when I get more educated, when I understand more about this YouTube universe and how it works. I know that there's certain audio books. There's things I could offer, maybe come up with something. I don't know how to write one. I got to figure out how would I write an audiobook or an ebook, I should say, the electronic books where they're just sent. You could read them electronically. I don't know if do I have to literally type every word and come up with an ebook? There's got to be a way of just putting all this stuff into like a book, an ebook someday. As a way of just having a something that we can work with, something that would help us with our mind, with the way we live. And I think a lot of these things, they would help, and they would help ease our crazy mind. Okay, but a lot of it is just like I said, it's finding your stillness, and it's finding that eye of the storm within yourself. Yeah, but eventually, like I said, I have so many things I'd like to do. Darius, breath work is super helpful. Breath work. What is that? What exactly is breath work? Tom, I would like to connect and help. Look into things like Discord and connect with others outside of YouTube. Okay. discord and content. Is that a site or something? And breath work. Okay. If something tells me breath work, that sounds like meditation, like learning to breathe. Because a lot of times in meditation, as you're meditating, yeah, you got to kind of focus on a breathing rhythm, things like that, kind of focusing on your body, your heart rate. You kind of almost like try to like get very peaceful and be relaxed with your body, kind of be aware of it. And at the same time, trying to be aware of that eye of the storm at the same time and trying to segregate your mind. Your psyche has to be segregated. Like I said, the trinity of our consciousness, you have that mind, you got that stillness, and then you've got the God code, which I've also talked about. Because ultimately, people, I didn't even finish what I was saying. Because when you get a clear mind, when you find that stillness and we practice that, and we suffer through a little bit and we start facing a lot of our demons, and a lot of times our mind and our thoughts, our body always has demons in there. When we start facing these demons in ourselves, we start to, breath work is meditative. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. A lot of times when we face all these demons and we start facing our issues, that's when we clear the signal. Because a lot of times our signal to our God, our signal to our Creator is clouded. Okay, this is one of our falls. This is what originally was our fall from grace in the original sin, the original Garden of Eden, things like that. We're flawed. We're a fallen being. And the more we clear our conscious, the more we get away from these things that hurt us, the more we move past them, the more we have a clear, direct line to our Creator, to basically to that code, to that, it's almost like I said, go back to the computer again. Computers all have, remember I said that the virus gets in there and it starts infecting the computer. Now also, what does a computer have? Something that's fairly recent in the last maybe 10, 15 years is that Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is just basically through the airs, like signals that just kind of come through. I mean, we got Wi-Fi in a house and it goes into my laptop here, into my phone, and I'm transmitted through a Wi-Fi halfway around the world, all around, talking to you right now. Well, Wi-Fi is basically, that's modern technology. This is technology. Well, in a sense, we have Wi-Fi to our Creator. In a sense, I mean, that God code is like, in a sense, I mean, I know I'm not telling you anything different. We know we have kind of a relationship with something deeper than ourselves, our Creator. Now, whether you're agnostic, whether you're atheist, whether you do or don't believe in God, I don't know that. But I do believe that we have something that we're inborn. We have a code that we were born with. We really did. We have something that is not just educated. We're not just, we just don't absorb, all our rote knowledge. We don't just drink it in from textbooks, from education, from schools. We're not doing that. We have another way of educating, and that's through our spirit. I mean, we do. We have certain things that we were born to know. We have certain latent things within our consciousness that we were born to know. A lot of times we're not taught this. Society does not encourage these kind of things, I mean, you can't get this thing out of the public school system. They want to indoctrinate our kids. They just want to fill us completely in with how the world wants us to think, how the world wants us to react. Okay? But no, we have something within ourselves, and when we clear our conscious, when we clear ourselves and find that inner stillness and that meditation, things will start flooding into you. Insights, amazing visions of just what things we're born to know. Things only God would know that He would give to us when we are ready, when we have a clear conscience, when we have a clear spirit in order to receive these things. Yes. So this is another thing. I mean, this is the mechanics of our meditation. So we find these things so that we have that clear signal, that clear channel, that clear Wi-Fi to our Creator, to our spirit. Yes, that's what it's all about. Yeah. I know there's so much. I'd love to put all this stuff down into an ebook some way. I mean, sometimes I just get into talking. A lot of these things I think would be magnificent in it, like an ebook or or something. But right now, I'm just talking to you. This is why I'm here. See, that's what it's all about. So, yes. But bottom line is that's a lot of what it is that we need to find, and we have to what our mission is basically. And so these are things that you know that you're on the right path. Oh, let me say that. Remember, I don't know if anybody's remembered that. I said that earlier. How do you know when you're on the right path? And I talked about, I was listening to a few things. A lot of times is when things just start coming into you. You start getting flashes of insight, flashes of just of knowledge, flashes of like inspiration that just kind of come out of you. And sometimes you can't explain where they come from. You know, like the old thing, you know, INFJs are good for that. Now, this is another thing. These are part of our gifts. Just as to say that again, I mean, you were asking about what are gifts that we tend to look for as INFJs. Sometimes we look for to be, you know, what are some of our gifts? Yeah, we're empathetic and we have a good way of communication. There's some things, but a lot of times too is INFJs have a gift of just knowing things, and they don't know where they come from. A lot of times they can say things or have the ability just to have insight that is correct, that is right, but they even kind of baffle themselves as to how they know things. This is another thing that is common with INFJs. And a lot of it is because they're instinctively in contact with what I'm talking about. Whether in one way, shape, or form, you know, we all have a level of this. And I said that in a video before, that we've established this code at a very young age because we inverted inward. We were intuitive, introverts. And we looked within ourselves. We had nowhere else to go but to get more in touch with that spirit, with that soul that I talk about. And for me, I found nature walks and being alone. Yes, absolutely. I love nature walks or barefoot in a stream. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, barefoot in a stream. Hey, I like walking on the beach sometime with the bare feet. You know, just, yeah. Obviously in the middle of summer. Not now, but a lot of times that's another one of a gift of INFJs is that, yeah, they just kind of know stuff. Stuff just comes out of them. And they don't even know where it comes from. It's like something beyond them just spoke. Something out of sight of them just took over and said something, and they don't even know, because they're in touch with their code in one way, shape, and sometimes it just reveals itself at moments of enlightenment. Maybe the right people are around. Maybe the empathy is just right. Maybe they're picking up vibes. They know there's somebody that's going to listen. Things just come out. Things just happen. Frostbite warning. Oh, yeah. I'm up here in New Hampshire, and it's, I think it's less than 10 degrees right now. I think last time I checked, it was about 10. It's pretty cold right now, and it's windy. We're right in winter right now. So, but bottom line is, people, yeah, that's how important it is to have a meditation, to find your center, to find things like that. Yeah, definitely, is to try to find that inner self, that inner meditation, and a lot of times it's our greatest guide. That's all, definitely. So, okay, frostbite warning. Yes. All right. Okay. So how's everybody doing out there? Everybody's all right? All right. We have 10 watching. All right. That's awesome. So, but I want to thank everybody for showing up. This is very good. You know, funny thing is, I got to tell you, I lose all track of time when I'm having these lives. Sometimes I host these lives and I look at the time and say, oh my gosh, yeah, there we go. Good gosh. Well, you know, I just feel like time just stands still, or just kind of, it goes, and I lose track of it. You know, so I guess that's part of when. I guess that means that you're effective or something. In the summer, I enjoy sitting in my gazebo, listening to my water fountain, and I don't think about anything. pure peace and listening to birds singing. Oh, you told me that before. You got your gazebo. Oh yeah, yeah. You told me that about your gazebo. Yes, yes. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think there's something that now. I think there's something that we all have to have a special peaceful place that we find that's uniquely ours. That when I was a kid, there was a place up in there was this cemetery when I was a kid. It was called Frog Pond. There was a place called Frog Pond, and there was this rock that I would used to sit down on, and I'd think, and I'd go out there myself. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, but I had a special spot where I had a rock. Now that rock is still there. It's a giant rock, big enough to sit on. You know what I mean? And in that pond, there were frogs in there, and there were like turtles and ducks, things like that in summertime. And that thing's been there that thing's been there as long as I can remember. But that rock is still there. I mean, the place has changed a little bit. It's like it was in an old cemetery in Lynn, my hometown. But yeah, I used to find a lot of peace there, just to think. It was quiet. There was water. I always found peace always near some kind of body of water. Water is very peaceful. I mean, unless it's like white waters or hurricane water. I mean, when it's peace, when it's still, when it's still or it's calm, it's very peaceful, I should say. Yeah. Okay, I didn't want to interrupt your flow. Okay, yeah, Discord. It's an appreciation. One of many that creator contents used to connect with their audiences better, Tom. Yeah, of course. Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I know. I noticed everybody kind of calmed down a little bit. I was on a kind of a tirade there, and I noticed people weren't really commenting a bunch, but I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes, water is peaceful. Absolutely. I have a childhood rock spot too. Yes, I'm thinking all of us did. We needed that. And I guarantee you have very good memories because that was something we were drawn to. That's something introverts do. We like to be drawn to some place. And there might be one specific place that you will return to. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I did. And that was Frog Pond. I had my rock there. And most of my youth, even into my teenage years, I would go back and I would sit there and I would think. So, yeah. I mean, I had vices at the time. Sometimes I smoked cigarettes. And sometimes I smoked them funny cigarettes there, too. I mean, I wasn't all just thinking. Sometimes I was losing myself a little bit. I mean, I did stupid stuff. But I still found peace there. I still like to find moments that I would just try to find that, and things like that. So, but... yeah, awesome. I sit in the desert and look at the sand and boulders. I watch until I can feel the vibrations lifting the sand and visualize the boulders floating in stillness. El Vagabond. Where are you from? Are you from the United States? Are you outside? Are you from... there was somebody I was talking to, maybe it was you, like from the Middle East somewhere? Somebody was from Pakistan or something. Was that you? I can't remember who that was. Maybe you could tell me. Somebody was last week. I was talking on a live, and they were from. There was from somewhere out there, out in the Middle East, where there's a lot of deserts and things like that. I mean, here in the United States, up where I am, there's not a desert for thousands of miles. Not here in the Northeast. I think we have maybe the Mojave Desert out in the Midwest. Arizona, California, Nevada area. That's about it. But, so, yeah, I love it. Yeah, when I was younger, I enjoyed being around horses. Oh, you liked horses, did you? Okay. Yeah. Mojave Desert. Oh, okay, Mojave. I just said Mojave. Mojave's out in the Midwest. I would imagine Arizona, like I said, New Mexico. That's a big desert out there. The, Nevada area. There's a lot of cactus out there. That's where all they have those unique cactuses, those big old tall cactuses. Those things are endangered now, I think. Yeah, that's awesome. Mojave Desert. There you go. All right, I couldn't remember. Somebody was talking to me from Pakistan last week. I couldn't remember if that was you or not. Sometimes I get people texting from, different countries. A lot from England. A couple from there's somebody from the Philippines. Sometimes Philippines are out there. I used to go smoke funny cigarettes there too. Oh, Vamp Fox for 88. Yeah, especially when my mom would bring over her boyfriend over, and you had bad vibes from. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we all had our vices. When I was a kid, yeah, I think we had ways of coping, and yeah, I mean, I did. I used to smoke funny. I used to smoke the funny stuff up until I was about almost 30 years old. So I did give it up though. Yeah. I breed cactus. Oh, no kidding. You breed the cactus. Yeah. I was going to say cactus. I tell you, I had some before I moved into my house that I'm in now. I had to get rid of some because I didn't have the windows. I knew they needed those windows that were going to get sun like all the time, and I didn't have them in my new house. Let's see. High desert. High desert is beautiful and different from low desert. I was in a whiteout snowstorm in the Nevada high desert. It was amazing. Whoa. Oh, Darius. Yeah. So you had a whiteout. Yeah, I guess, well, the thing is, I mean, yeah, deserts get cold at night. A lot of people think deserts are hot all the time. No, they get cold. They can get bitter cold, especially at night. I mean, just as cold. And yeah, they can have their bouts of probably, like you said, a whiteout, things like that. They could have flash floods. Yeah, deserts are very. You talk about a harsh environment. My gosh, you just look at what a desert is. I mean, just the terrain it is, just the survival of the animals and wildlife, and just for them to survive out there is quite amazing. I mean, as dry as it is, but they find ways. Has anybody ever gone through Death Valley? Death Valley is the lowest. It is the lowest lowest point in North America. It is 200 feet below sea level. So it is somehow but they call it Death Valley for a reason. I mean, it's you don't come out of it too well. You got to be well prepared going in there. I think it's incredibly hot. I mean, because it's so low, temperatures during the day could go well up into like the 130-degree mark. Hot, brutally hot, and there's no water there. So yeah, but yeah, dynamic. Yes, awesome. Yeah. Well, that is cool. That is definitely cool. But oh yeah. But yeah, this is like I said, we are kicking off this new year in style right here. Yeah, with a live. Yeah, but as far as like what I plan to do, like I said, I mean, there's a lot that I need to learn about. Obviously, I'd like to get some different kind of editing equipment. I'm still putting that on hold because I need to focus on things. I have a lot of bills that I have to pay. I mean, I got mortgages. I mean, I was reluctant because in a way it was good. There was a reason why, because my heat, I lost my heat in my car last week. I had to bring it in the shop, and they had to put a whole new instrument panel in there, and they had to get, I couldn't have no heat or no defrost in the middle of winter up here in the Northeast. So I had to bring it in and get my heat done. And it wasn't cheap. It was not, it was a setback, but the thing is, I need a car. I need a car. As much as I want editing equipment for this part of me, I still got to function, and I need transportation. So I think that took priority. I had to do that, obviously. Okay, I don't do so much now, but I've done much better than I was when I was young. I'm from Australia. See, I knew it. That's right, Vamped. I think I remember seeing something about that. You are from Australia. Good gosh. So I'm glad you're able to join. I would imagine it's morning then right now. It must be Monday morning, or is it? Wait. It's No, excuse me. I'm thinking it's weekend. No, excuse me. Is it Friday morning already, or it's got to be? You're already into Friday morning of the next day. I think you're already into. It's January 2nd. Is that right? You're like 12 hours ahead, right? In Australia? Yeah. That's kind of cool. I sometimes watch some creators from Australia. Yeah. I love the accent down there. I mean, it's got its own unique flair, but it's highly understandable. I mean, there's very little I don't understand about Australians. I mean, they're similar to the United States. You got a very similar dialect. It's just the accent is, you get just different pronunciations, which is understandable. But I tell you, it's the speech is like great. I mean, England. I understand everything, but they're very proper. This very very proper over there. Yeah, but that's awesome. But yeah, but those are some of the things I want to talk about. But as far as just understanding ourselves, that's what my channel is all about. That's what our channel is this experience. I think that's mainly what a lot of these INFJ channels are. Well, that's why we gravitate so much to them, is because we have so much in common. And a lot of times, Tuesday, 12 p.m. It's our. Wait a minute. How can it be Tuesday yet? It's Thursday here. You can't be 2 days ahead. Tuesday, 12 p.m. Wait, can it only be 24 hours? Are you behind or ahead of us? Wait, today's Thursday. How could it be Tuesday? That's two. Where did Wednesday go? Wednesday can't. Are you sure? You're confusing me. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah. Okay, that's some time zone. Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait a minute. That's a whole day. Where'd Wednesday go? It's got to be either Wednesday or Friday. I thought it was a day ahead. It would be Friday morning or something like that. Yeah. Are you sure you got the right day going there? How can it be 12 o'clock Tuesday? Vamp, oh, but I love Friday. Say, come on. I knew that. We knew that. Okay. All right. No, okay, it's Friday. No, that makes more sense. I'm going to say it couldn't be Tuesday. 2 days earlier. That's a 48-hour time zone almost. All right. No, but back to what I was saying though. Yeah, that's what this channel is. This channel is dedicated to just helping us understand ourselves, just to have a better life, and just to have talks like that where we can just kind of. I like doing this because now we're just communicating with with each other. We're talking, and you're communicating amongst each other, and so that's good. My phone had glitched. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So, but yeah, But anyways, these were some of the ideas I wanted to come up with. I probably still will, like maybe the mechanics of meditation. I mean, maybe come up with a different way. I won't be exact, but that was the gist of what I think it is. Just kind of understanding how exactly it works. And of course, that's something that we always want to know. We want to understand our mind, how it thinks more than anything, because that's our life quest. This is one of our life goals, is just to figure ourselves out. Yeah. And that's one thing I never knew, not until almost 4 years ago, whenever I found the MBTI. It's going on 4 years now. And the thing is, just thinking I'm alone out here and nobody else is like me, and we all thought we were all by ourselves. Nobody else ever, we weren't going to find anybody else like ourselves. Once you discovered other people that had what you had, it was at least you knew that you weren't alone anymore. And that's one of the best realizations, is knowing that these channels bring us together, even though we're separate and we're halfway around the world. Vamp, you're halfway around the world. We're somehow together right now through this modern day technology. Like we're separate together. And that's a paradox for you right there, right? Yeah, but I mean, it brought us all together. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the beauties of YouTube, and that's one of the beauties of. Yeah, that's funny right there. That's the absolute beauty of this whole thing right now, is that we have this kind of camaraderie. I know I've said that before, but it is worth saying again, because that's what we do here, right? So, but yeah, I was going to say bloody Timu. Oh yeah, that's right. You still use bloody. That's like is that like an F-bomb? We have the F-bomb up here. Is bloody Or is it more just like, oh, darn, or gosh darn, or like, damn? What is that? I don't know. What kind of, because we don't use that bloody. I mean, not like a verb, you know? We might say somebody's bloodied, somebody's got a bloody nose. I'm not sure what's going on, people, if you can hear me. All right. Well, I don't know if you can still hear me. Okay, maybe it was just maybe you can still hear me? My computer just froze up for a second. I think I got it back, though. I'm grateful to have connections like to, yes, of course. I'm getting choppy. Oh, it was getting choppy also here. Yeah, it's probably some kind of, damn is like, people, if you can hear me. Yeah, just there's a little bit of technical difficulty, probably with the internet, with the whole transmission. That's all. Hopefully it'll come out of it. Yep. Ugh, nope. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you're hearing me or not. If you can hear me, but I'm just going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking just in case you can still hear me. My screen keeps kind of getting blurry, and I know you're seeing something too. I'm hoping we come out of that technical. But yeah, it's something to do with the weather. Yeah, maybe there's some cloud covers coming up here or something. I'm sure it's some kind of satellite interference. It happens. It happens. But as long as you hear me, that's all that matters. Yeah. So, but yeah, these are some of the things that eventually I have in plans. I mean, I have a lot of plans eventually. It's just a matter of executing them. It's just a matter of finally learning enough about this whole YouTube venture. You know, as far as, like I said, you know, books and things like that. And of course, I'm still trying to where I have enough enough of an audience that I can connect to that eventually I'd like to do that all. And I mean, eventually, if I start doing more of this, I have one left to go as far as, you know, maybe even get on different channels, maybe even a channel, another channel, maybe not too many, but get another channel for something. Maybe not an INFJ channel, maybe something different. But again, I'm going to focus right on this one. My focus is this channel right here, is just to know that I'm doing my best job I can right here on this. I think my focus right now, and I feel like my expertise in this INFJ channel is just the fact that having this personality is a qualification. A lot of time, but I thought that was well worth it, just to have this be the expertise. Testify to something, because so many times I go through similar events in our own ways. So that's one of our things that just bonds us together, is that yeah, we have these. So okay, so yeah, for some reason, okay, come out of it a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I'm looking at the screen. Oh, I buffered again. I don't know. It's kind of going back and forth. Hopefully it'll correct itself. That's all. So yeah. Yeah, but the bottom line is, yeah, that's the plans I got, is eventually to do just that, is just to make this channel is enriching as possible. And my goal is basically just to know that some people we're finding we're somehow finding help in this. You know, if as long as we somehow find peace. If you can find peace within yourself and finally get out of this whole rat race of our mind, basically, and find some kind of contentment in yourself, then it was worth it. And it's worth it to us. But there are certain steps. But there are steps that have to be taken with INFJs. And sometimes, yeah, we need somebody out there kind of pointing the right steps out, saying, yeah, okay, we know what you're going through, you know. It's just good to know that there's more of us out here. But yeah, a lot of time I think because of the transmission problem, people are tuning out. I do apologize if you can hear me. So INFJ Energy makes electronics goofy. Yes, yes, Darius, I hear that. If you can hear me, I heard that. Yes, exactly. Talk about reality meeting storm stack. So, how you don't have the clear signal, when you don't have that direct Wi-Fi to your creator, to your God code. Yeah, this is what happens. Things freeze up, things start getting tricky. This is what our mind does. Brilliant. Who said that? Who said that? Oh, Tom, I'm going to sign off. You're getting a okay, peace. Thanks for sticking around. Go rest your neck, okay? If you can hear me, thank you for coming, all right? I appreciate that. Good night, everyone. Good night, peace in the valley. I appreciate you being here for as long as you were. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah. Well, what's going to happen is I'll give it a couple more minutes. If I can't get the transmission back, maybe I'll have to sign off as well. But I'll stick around to see if it happens. But if it doesn't, we'll just call it a night. Okay. But I do want to appreciate for everybody for sticking around as long as you did, for showing up. I see some of the more loyal subscribers out there. And I like to see the ones that are here, that are really. I mean, it'd be nice if every one of us could, but that's okay. Sometimes, there's a certain percentage of people that are there that like to participate. I get that, definitely. Yeah, Tom, I think it might be time. Looks like people are having to take off here. All right then, people. Dear friend, yes, if you can hear me, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Well, people, I think I'm going to do the same thing. I think the internet is not cooperating right now at this moment. Okay, I'm going to have another. One of these. Maybe maybe this weekend. I'll do another one. I might start doing more live broadcasts. Maybe I will. I'll let you know. Okay. All right. Well. Okay then. So. Oh, 7 are coming back in. Yeah. Okay. May you have a blessed New Year's Day. Okay. Good night, everyone. Okay. Who are leaving? Yeah. Good night. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to try to give this a little more time. If it's okay if somebody wants to stick around. I see 7 are watching. I know some had to leave, and I was hoping that if the transmission of the broadcast kept going, I would have to call it. I would have to call it a night too. But if it comes back on and it gets clear for a bit, I'll stick around for a little while longer. As long as we know 7 are watching, I'll be here just to fill things in and things like that. But now, if any 7 who are watching, yeah. Oh, good night, all you guys. So if anybody has any questions about anything that I might have said in a video, or maybe a short or anything like that, I'd be willing to answer any questions you have about any of the material I've said. If not, I'm sure we can talk a little bit longer anyway. That's all. Okay. So it's been 2 hours. So, all right. Maybe that cloud that we had, maybe that interruption that we had is gone. Is everybody okay? Is everybody all right? Can they hear? There are 3 watching right now. All right. Yeah, I had a lot more at one point. Yeah. Okay. So, but if like I said, if things don't get any better, things are starting to get a little better. When did you know you were an INFJ? Okay, Vamp Fox, 1988. When did I know? I found out about almost, let me see, 3 years ago. Was it 3? A little over 3 years ago, I believe. I was 57 years old. Yeah, 57, and I had just recently got divorced, maybe within a year and a half before, and I was living on my own. And I was watching YouTube. I started watching YouTube a bit, and I would watch different channels. And of course, sometimes on YouTube, you know how you tend to search. You tend to just search things out on YouTube. And of course, algorithms pull you into certain things that you find interest in. Well, one time I just got pulled into a video, and it said, why do INFJs, why is it like INFJs are being on drugs? And it was Wen's, okay? I've talked about Wen's before. She's an INFJ coach as well, and she's the first one I ever seen. And she had a video about how the INFJs are like being on drugs, and I watched it. And she started talking about what the INFJ thing was, and how their mind works, and how it's abstract and the way it thinks. And it's kind of like being on drugs in a way, the patterns of the mind and how they think, and just how they naturally think is like a drug thing. And it's not like any other mind. And a lot of times when you're around an INFJ, it's like that, because things spill out, things come out from that thinking, that way of thinking. So at that point, I just said, hey, you know what is this? So I started watching more videos, and I seemed to relate to it. I just seemed to connect to the whole thing. It took me a long time to accept it. I kept thinking, well, I can't be that. And then I find out it's very rare. It's like less than 2%, 1% in men. It's like, oh, how can I possibly be that? So I went well over a year and a half, just studying different other types, and watching the INFJ channel, watching different videos. But I always seemed to relate and said, oh my gosh, that's what I'm like. All these ways of that they describe them, and some of them was so spot on. They got me upset. I actually burst out in tears by myself because they were so accurate. Because some of the descriptions of the INFJ was so dead on. And I thought, oh my God, I started, like those times I started bursting out in tears because they were that accurate. And then I realized, you mean this is a personality type? And because the longest time I thought maybe I had mental illness. I thought I had a touch of mental illness. Like I wasn't fully crazy. I wasn't totally crazy, just a little bit. You always think maybe I'm a little bit autistic, maybe just a little bit like have a spectrum disorder too. Like I felt like I had this way of thinking like a spectrum as well. Not a full-blown like complete, but just a little bit, just enough to say this is how your mind thinks. Okay? And I finally took a test. Like after I ruled out, I finally took a test, a free test, and yeah, it came out INFJ. I took a couple more. One time I took it and I came out as INTJ. I thought, well, that could be a fluke. I mean, it just was one digit off. Maybe I just answered a couple of questions a little bit different, but for the most part, the tests were all INFJT. That's all. So, but that's basically it. I mean, a lot of times I think, and I've actually, when I've told that story, I've had a lot of people say, that's what happened to me. I found it on YouTube as well, and I started looking more into it. And so a lot of times that's how we're finding this, is that we're just finding videos. Somehow I think the algorithm actually can steer us into these as well, because there's certain interests that the INFJ have, maybe about psychology, maybe there's certain things that draw INFJs in, certain videos, certain topics, and they turn out they start to watch these videos based on the topics and then algorithm steers them into these INFJ channels. Then they like what in my case, and that's all I can describe, is that it had to have been something on that idea. I was geared towards certain things that steered me into that. And matter of fact, that very video is out there. If you look up, there's a Wennis video, like how INFJs are like being on drugs. That's the first one I ever saw. And I still remember that was the title, because that one was like blew my mind. And then I started watching all these other videos, trying to learn on it. And then that's when I just kind of realized that was it. But anyway, that's how I found out. Yeah. So, okay. For watching. Yeah. All right. All right. What I'm going to do here is, I think I can go a few more minutes. I think I'm going to go to about, I'll go to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure where it is with you. I'll go till 10:30, and then I'll call it a night. But that'll be a good night though. Anyway, if anybody's still out there. It says I have 4 of you watching. It was a few more before, but a few people had to go to bed. They decided to they were here long enough, so that's okay. Yeah, but bottom line is, so once you find out, a lot of times, you know, this is one of the beauties of YouTube's is because I found out here, and obviously a lot of you people found out a similar way, and a lot of times we don't know our types, and we go through suffering in our life. And when we're oblivious too, we can find ourselves no matter what. Maybe wisdom. It would take age. It would take our a lot of trial and error. We can find ourselves no matter what. We probably would eventually, but it helps so much just knowing that there's a documented personality type, as rare as it is, that is yours, and you're not alone. The bottom line is, one of the greatest things we could find out is that, no, we're just not alone here. That this is a type. You know, we're an introverted, intuitive type with a unique way of just piecing together patterns in our life. The way we think, the way we make decisions is just unique to who we are. And just by knowing this, by discovering our type, and just knowing that we're not alone, and just knowing that we just have this way, a pattern of thinking, at least just brings clarity. It doesn't cure us. It doesn't make us cured. It just gives us a sense of clarity that we aren't alone, and that we just have a unique and very rare combination of functions that we think in. And not only that, I mean, I think the whole MBTI type is it's only been recently been recognized. This is something that's only been in the last, maybe especially widely recognized, I'd say in the last 20 to 25 years. And I think that it's been being a little bit more taken seriously on how you evaluate certain people. Now, when they used to do psychological tests on people, there were always tests that they did. They always did tests on people and how their mind works. Now you go to, let's say you take a police officer's exam. A lot of it is they want to know what your intellect is, what your level of thinking is. They just want to know how you would react in certain situations, making sure you have a stable mind. But also there's certain things that tell you about your personality in a lot of ways. Now, whether or not the police departments use MBTI, I don't know, but I know certain corporations now, and I even think the FBI. I think certain bureaus, I think the FBI uses MBTI now, but this is something that they've been adopting, I'd say, within recent years, within, like I said, last 20 or 25 years even, maybe even sooner. So this is something that's beginning to get to be mainstream. And I think a lot of it is YouTube, right here on YouTube, has really, really narrowed. It has kind of joined a lot of personality types to these niches. I mean, obviously, you're watching me now. You're watching videos. Yeah, we have subscribers here. This niche is very popular amongst INFJs. I think they're the most curious. They're one of the most curious types about the MBTI, because their mind they want to figure it out in so many ways. So yes, that's definitely why we're drawn to these niches to begin with. But yeah, it's getting more and more important, I'd say, all the time, as far as how the MBTI works and how it's constructed. That's all. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's a lot of people ask me that. I think that's an interesting question. I've asked a couple questions like that. It's somewhat similar. A lot of times people have a similar answer. And right here, I mean, I've had a couple other people say they found it right here on YouTube. They just stumbled across a video that hit home and things like that. That's all. Okay. So, well, all right. Hey, that suit actually looks pretty good on TV, doesn't it, huh? I was just looking at it, huh? That's actually a pretty good suit. It works pretty well right there, you know? All right. Well, hopefully that answered your question. Vamp Fox 40. Oh, yeah, Vamp Fox. Yeah. Now, you said you were from Australia, Vamp? Vampflock, you were from Australia. Was that you? Or was that, yeah, couldn't remember exactly. Yeah. Yes, that's it, Australia. That's it. I remember. Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you something, I mean, about Australia, now that you're out there. It looks like a very interesting place. I know that, and I know it looks like a beautiful continent, and, and I know that the animals are all like, they're unique animals because of the way they evolve, like kangaroos and things like that. But, yeah, it is kind of like interesting just to see all the different varieties of like wildlife and how they're so drastically different. Like the duck-billed platypus almost looks like an animal that just doesn't really belong, and it looks like something that's been kind of thrown together by Dr. Frankenstein. Like it has a duck bill, it's a mammal with like webbed feet, and it's like a beaver tail. It looks like something that just it was thrown together. It's and I know it's native to, and it lays eggs. It's the only mammal that lays eggs on Earth. It's a strange animal, the way that thing. Yeah, so I mean, I sometimes I was I'm fascinated with some of the animals from that part of the world, you know, but I guess it's just the way they evolved. It was something the way the continents all separated, and they evolved their own way. They had very little interaction with other species, so they just evolved a certain way. And but they're unique. The animals are definitely, yeah. And they're echidnas. I'm gonna have to look that up. You had mentioned that before. Now, do people eat those? Did you say something about like they're eaten? Are they like something that is? I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah. And see what those are. Yeah, I mean, North America has its own version of animals that are unique to this part of the world, but like we have like, how about the opossum? Opossums are the only marsupial. Now, there's a lot of animals that are marsupials in Australia, I believe, like the kangaroo, the koala bear. There's certain ones, but the only marsupial that is native to United States is a possum. Yeah, if you knew that. The only one. I think that's the only one native outside of Australia, which has almost all. It was some kind of a strange fact like that. And possums, gosh, they could be in my backyard right now. Possums are all over the place. That's kind of an animal that looks like it belongs in Australia in a way, But yeah, we got it. North America has that one, But okay. But I'm gonna have to look that up. ECH. Enchilada, enchiladas. Okay, I'll look that up, see what that is exactly. So, all right, but well, anyway, I'll tell you, I've been doing this over a couple hours. Yeah, I'm gonna get ready to wind this down in a little bit, though, folks. I do want to tell you, though, like I said, part of this was the New Year's, the fact that it was a New Year's celebration, and that we're kicking off a brand new year on the channel. Okay, and also the fact that yes, we surpassed 600 subscribers, and and everything's going well. Everything's going very strong, and that yeah, there's an attraction to this channel. There's an attraction to something that I'm saying, I guess, and all that. But I do just want to let you know I do enjoy this channel, and one of the reasons that keeps drawing me back is the fact that the audience is growing. And the audience participates the way it is. And that keeps me going more than anything. Is just knowing that your input is so great, is so touching, it's good. So just want you to know that as well. So, all right, yeah. So, okay then, people. I think I'm gonna wind this down a little bit. If you have a quick question, this for watching. If you have anybody has a quick question they want to ask, maybe anything that maybe you want to talk about, or if not, I'm gonna just get ready to wind it down, and we'll do this again on the weekend. What I'll do is I'll try to plan maybe another one, maybe Saturday or Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon maybe. I can do another live broadcast. Okay, all right then. All right, well, people, thank you so much for joining today. I want to thank you all for being here. And above all, thank you for supporting the channel. Just thank you for being there and subscribing to the channel. And so just be patient with me and just understand that I'm still learning. This is my first YouTube channel. I'm still very much new to this whole thing, but I do want to continue on with this whole YouTube journey eventually, and learn more than I do, and get to be more fluent on the content and better with some of the content that I produce. That's all. Okay. All right. Well, people, I'm going to be signing off now. It's a little bit after 10 o'clock my time. I'm going to thank you so much for being there. All right. And until the next time, have yourself a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on where you are. Okay. Well, thank you again. All right. Thanks.